Watch what, Carrot?
Dog. I invited the man.
Love it.
That was an amazing way to start the day. Namaste, Galactic family. Welcome back to the channel IndigoAngel. Come on into this beautiful awakening, this Lemurian dimension today. I'm so excited that everyone is here. Yeah, drop it down in the comments, drop it down in the chat. Let me know that you guys are here. Say aloha on this beautiful day, and put a like on this video. We have kind of, I guess, a bunch of fun new things that are coming up, new offerings, new exciting gridwork mission that we're going to be doing next week. And so we got a lot to dive into with you guys today about the rainbow technology and the rainbow crystal awakening and preserving the creation codes of consciousness. Taking this all the way through the seeds of creation and through the grid work to sustain the innocence of humanity and also to assist us with, I guess, preserving ourselves, through the AI technology. And as we're kind of shifting through generational consciousness at a rapid rate, a conversation that Noko and I actually suddenly and unexpectedly got into last night, and we were thinking, wow, we need to bring this to our family. We need to have this discussion with all of you. So yeah, it's a beautiful day today. Noko, how are you feeling today?
Well, I am excited to be here. This definitely came through very divinely. And, um, I mean, there's so much we can dive into on rainbow technology. And this all was kind of inspired by a recent healing session that I did that I was gifted and went on this journey and was told I had to create this mission. This gridwork mission. And Indy and I love to do our remote missions, usually pretty regularly. So I went to her and I was like, hey, I think this is for us. And sure enough, we both have pieces to the puzzle. So it's all coming together beautifully. Yeah, I'm excited to talk more about it and about, I was reading your update. It was like, wow, you were bringing some depth. You were bringing things that were connecting things even more, even down to me wanting, being guided to put on the peacocks today. Because there was this message with the colors being the base colors of the rainbow, and then, the chakras those relate to. And so reading some of what were bringing through, I was like, wow, blown away.
Wow,
As
so
usual.
exciting. So exciting you did the peacocks because I actually got out my pretty like little fancy rainbow. Well, it's not rainbow, but it's got a lot of colors in it as well. I don't know what this is called, but it's like a little shawl thing that I usually wear around the pool,
Ah,
my crystal salt pool, right? My rainbow pool. So yeah, we were thinking alike.
it's so pretty. And you know what I noticed in doing that? I was like, wow, I don't have any rainbow clothing. Why is that? I love rainbows. And then I thought about it and I was like, because it was hijacked. And because I don't feel as comfortable, right? Like there's like this crisscross of symbolism with that, with the rainbow. And so it was like I even came upon this own blockage in my own space of like, hey, I should be able to, wear a rainbow if I want to and be proud to do that. And, no offense to people that use the symbol in other ways, but it's just interesting. It's very, there's a lot there.
There is a lot there. There's a lot of punishment and condemnation around the rainbow, because I think its orientation with the LGBTQ community, lesbians and gays and transgenderism, that, yeah, it's very difficult, I think, for us to maybe embrace our rainbows. I mean, maybe out in public because, you're going to get those cross stares and those weird judgment looks and, whatever it is. But really, we know what this represents. We know what this means. We know that this is truly the reflection of the 51% tipping point of light. The rainbow represents us actually shifting out of the cold, frozen polarity of dark light and stepping into the abundance of creation and magic and harmony and inspiration. Um, yeah, there's a whole rainbow science that actually goes behind this a little bit. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I'd love to hear about maybe your healing session and journey that brought you um, into this just innate knowing that we need to do a mission with these codes, that we need to connect everything in and draw it in and through. Really quickly though, thank you everyone for tuning in. We got everybody. We got Dr. Mafona and Gilligan, Grand Rising, beautiful sister, and blessings to you as well. I'm so excited to see you soon. Hey M, how's it going? ATL Transparency, good day to you, sir. Uh, Shay September, hey, how's it going? Ainana Champagne, aloha. Yeah, those beautiful words, aloha. I feel like the the word aloha is the spirit of the rainbow. Oh, and Wild Mood Swing 8. Oh yeah, Wild Mood Swings. I know all about that. Brooke Collins, are you speaking crystal and rainbow as far as the kids too? I have one of each. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we what are the differences between the crystal and the rainbow children? That might be something to get into today as well. Jim Montgomery, hey, how's it going? Yeah, guys, check on in. You do have to be subscribed to the channel for at least 60 seconds to get into the chat, but we love it when you guys tune in with us and share, everything that you're thinking and feeling as we move through the live and through this information, as it brings in things all the time that maybe perspectives we didn't see and angles we didn't know about, and you bring things to our awareness and we just love it. We love the collective mind experience that we have with you guys. So it's so much fun. Um, but yeah, Noko, take us on a little journey maybe. Like fill us in with what you were seeing, what came up and through, and why this is this grid work mission. And just to give everybody a little information, so to tie this into reference for everybody, Noko's actually going to be guiding our next Gridwork mission for January. We're doing it on January 28th at 1 p.m. CST. We're going to focus on oceans and islands, and it's going to be a multidimensional journey using Lemurian rainbow crystal technology. And we're going to be carrying humanity's original innocence codes, and we're going to work to embed this within the wisdom of life's sacredness into the planet, the dimensions, the timelines, and just restore the wombs of the mothers and all the generations. And Noko's going to let us know all about that. But we invite you guys to come and join us for this mission. This one I think is going to be really profound, very healing, um, pulling us out of the mainstream 3D Earth timelines and really kind of focusing on our ascension and planetary global healing. So I'm so excited to hear more about it.
Yeah, totally. I'm excited to share. I mean, it blew my mind. It was not what I was expecting, actually. And I feel like I probably need to start in that space because I don't do a lot of healing sessions. I wish I could. I actually, just with my budget and stuff, I don't. But I would invest in that because I've seen the amazing things that come out of it between the work that I've been able to do, with you through a lot of your coursework, like the implant removal and all that. You use me as a subject, test sample in that coursework. And I was able to see like the value of these types of sessions and journeying together and having someone there to kind of help, guide and just be that kind of voice that is still, tethered to the 3D dimension. Um, and so anyways, so I ended up getting this opportunity to work with this gal. I'll shout her out, Pau. She's amazing. And we've worked with her actually in some grid working. And she asked me to set an intention for the session. And so I thought on it for a minute, and one of the things that I've been really working through my shadow lately is my driving and my patience level. I've talked about this before, my ability to, connect in with my higher self when I'm getting behind the driver's seat. I notice something. I notice something that doesn't feel like mine in this lifetime, and it's very heavy, like I've been trapped before. Like a lot of times if there's traffic or someone that won't let me get out or pass them or something and are messing with me, like I feel this connection to this trauma from past lifetimes of entrapment, of not being able to do anything, of not being able to get away. And I also notice I love to drive fast. And I always said to myself, wow, I wonder if I used to, travel really fast in other lifetimes because I feel like I really like doing that. And so,
You're a race car driver in your past life.
and with Kingston, it really opened my eyes because I really feel like he's like a navigator and navigated like ships. Like the way he knows geography and the world and like space, like it really has blown my mind. And this has been from birth, basically, him coming out with this stuff and having an internal GPS built in. Um, so anyway, so I decided to work on this intention. I said, I'd really like to um, connect to my higher self when I'm driving more. I'd really like to heal some of this trauma and find out more about some of this, why I respond this way, why I have this. And it even runs through my ancestry because I remember this being in the car with my mom, and now I see it, the things in my boys, especially Kingston with just impatience with driving and not wanting to wait at the red light, things like that. Um, so I set this intention. I had no idea where this was going to bring me. And we start the journey, and I literally end up taken down to the depths of the ocean. And I'm on a ship. But it's like what I would think of a spaceship, like kind of, as far as the qualities, but it's a underwater, like it's almost like it's able to all terrain. You know what I'm saying? Like this thing can go everywhere. So we're underwater, and I'm with a team. It's not just me. And I'm immediately shown that I'm in a Lemurian timeline. I'm in a Lemurian lifetime, and that I was on mission. And we had this rainbow crystal on board. We had this technology. We had this
Mm.
something that we were supposed to do that was really important. It was like the main purpose of, our lifetime. And and so this is where it got a little darker and more difficult for me to have to, but it all made sense after. Um, there were what you would say dark ones. I really don't have words for what these beings were, but they were much bigger than us. They were much more physical than us, where we were more light body. And they all looked very similar, but still had some uniqueness to them. You couldn't really see their face. It was just like kind of almost like darkness. I don't know if you remember He-Man, but there was like a bad guy, if I remember correctly, or something in that cartoon that had the same type of look. So not nice, not a nice energy. And they had entrapped us, and they had literally had us like bound, had us taken away our gifts, our magic, um,
Mm.
and were stopping the mission, and were basically, hijacking the rainbow crystal technology. So,
Wow.
yeah, so that's part one, of where we went. Along this mission, I could see outside the windows, like there were big windows on the ship, and you could see into the ocean, and you could see all these sea creatures had gathered, like all these, not just things we know about, dolphins and like elementals, like things I'd never seen before. All of these sea creatures were like surrounding the ship and um, wanting to help, wanting to, do something. So yeah, so through that journey, um, I was guided that this crystal is still somewhere down in the depths of the ocean. And there actually may be more than one, right? And also the interesting connection that I ended up finding out is that this technology was supposed to be a part of like the human organic experience. Like we were supposed to have access to this technology. It's supposed to be, our birthright, and it's very connected to our gifts. It's very connected
Mm.
to our self-love and to the ideal that life is sacred, all life. And so, yeah, so within this whole time frame, I was able to, in that mission on the healing session, um, get to a point where we were unbound, where we were released, and where we realized that um, the dark ones actually were were wanting forgiveness. They were wanting to relinquish. It was at a time, it's like we had finally
Mm.
met this point in the timelines where they were like, I'm getting serious God chills, by the way. Like I'm like lit up right now. Where they were just like, okay, this enough is enough. Like we just can't do this anymore. It's something has shifted in their own fields. And so we were able to basically, in some ways, while they were on the ship and this transition happened, start to rehabilitate them. And when we were freed and unbound and able to regain our gifts, there was this huge celebration. Like if you looked out into the ocean, like all the creatures were, swimming around. They were so happy. It was like a totally different vibe. So this all took place, and then in coming out of the session, I was guided that there was still work to be done. Now that this had happened, there was still work to be done by the teams that were, and what I was told is that it wasn't just one ship. We weren't like, it wasn't just me and my team. It was literally like ships all over the planet.
Mm.
And you know how, back in those days, the lands were different, the oceans were different. And so it was almost as if we had like a surrounding, we were doing something around the all of the landmass that was there. So the calling for the Gridwork mission, and you'll know if it's you, is, that you may have some of this, you may have some similarities, you may have some parallels with the stories I've shared, you may have had your own visions, you may have already explored this part of your lifetime. For me, Lemuria was like the trigger point many, many years ago for me to start to research and awaken and learn more. And it continues to, come back through. Obviously, our trip, to Kauai was hugely connected to
Mm.
those lifetimes. I believe all of us that were there, had been on mission before and worked together before, and we had our rainbow. We had many rainbow confirmations on that trip.
Ah, absolutely. Wow. Well, as you're saying that, I think like, as I was journeying with you, I was taken to, yeah, Lemuria, which I do feel like is Hawaii, Hawaii being like the inner chakra system of the earth, and it holding all of the records of the original separation wounds, it holding all of the records of the original Luciferian rebellion, it holding all the records of the original massacres and tribal genocide and warfare. And it's almost like you went to the depth of that to retrieve the creation light or the rainbow crystal to remind us, to teach us how to work with it again and to share that. So that, yeah, maybe it's the rainbow light that will heal that fracture and that separation wound. And just us putting a little meditation and a little intention and collective thought and shared heartfelt some passion, some joy and just directing that energy in a collective way that we could restore it.
It's almost like a reawakening and a remembering, right? Just like everything else we've seen, and this wisdom, this ancient wisdom and technology that wants to come forward in these times. And one piece that I didn't mention is, excuse me, I'm getting a little throat chakra clearing over here. One piece was about the womb space and about the children and about the connection to these crystals. Like we literally, each of us with a human vessel, we're so blessed with these sacred gifts that we've received from God. They come equipped with the rainbow crystals. Like we physically have crystals in our bodies. And they have been, most of them, many of us have tapped back in already in some way, shape, or form. But most of them have been disconnected, have been um, destroyed in some ways. They can be rehabilitated. But this is where we see these technologies, these beast machines of the frequencies, the poison, right? The chemtrails, the fluoride, all the things that we know are, out there for this purpose. So it all is tied in. And we're really just being asked to bring this back so that, the mothers, all of the mothers, that's part of what we'll be doing in the mission. We're going to be working with this rainbow crystal technology and bringing and restoring it back to the womb and the womb space of all mothers and mothers to be. And those babies, will be able to um, have a much more strong connection with this technology before they're even born. And so, yeah, and it's the microcosm, macrocosm, right? Because when we're working in the oceans, which is what we'll be doing physically on the grids, is that's connected. The ocean is like the womb space. It's like the amniotic fluid. And so we're going to be, really working with these technologies on all these levels. It's a very multidimensional mission,
Yeah.
different than anything we've done before, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, well, and as you say that, I think that's right on in alignment with the womb and the water and the amniotic fluid and the placenta itself and the umbilical cord. Like, because you think about how our soul comes into being, and it's so interesting, Noko. When you brought this to me last night, I went to my Gridworker book, um, and I was or I'm sorry, not my Gridworker book. It's actually my Gridworker Oracle deck. It's called Sacred Sites Oracle cards. And so I was just like, rainbows. Is this most felt on a grid level? And I got Uluru. Uluru came to me with if you can see. Yeah. with the rainbow snake. And then I got to reading what was in the description, and it talks about uh, how the original Aboriginal Australians, how they feel that the soul actually manifests through the dream time. You know, this is why they're the dream walkers, and that this rainbow serpent is the rainbow snake is actually a woman. It is a feminine essence, and that so everything comes through her dreams, everything comes through into the natural world through the creative process of her dream time. And so it really ties into everything I feel like you're saying. So when you said womb, I'm like, yes, I can see all these mother arcing sites, which is almost what connects the rainbows. But then it's also taking me into the water droplets and how rainbows are reflected through water droplets, and that it's the primordial waters and it's the essence of light, like the purest essence of light coming together, and which creates the rainbow, which may be in fact also what's sustaining the harmonious bodies within the higher and lower astral, which is where all that dream time is ultimately taking place. So, yeah, I can see us harnessing that energy and really pulling that in, like you said, to the sacred womb worlds, within the garden worlds of creation, and really working towards, you know, clearing the interactions within that, because I do think there are distortions that we're dealing with that's running through it. And this kind of brings me, if you're ready to dive into this topic, it brings me into looking at why we have autism, why we have child illnesses, why we have this transgender confusion. Again, there was an evasive attack, you know, on our youth that we know that they've done through social media and TikTok and things like this. But still, nonetheless, it seems to have really affected the indigo children of the world. And now they're going to be suffering, and a lot of them are in fear. A lot of them are actually, now that we've had this like regime change, so to speak. Um, this was something I actually sent a video to you, and I don't know, you know, if you want to pull it in right now. I think we can jump all over. We're pretty multidimensional. Um, but there was a pastor actually who was calling out Trump. I don't know if anyone caught this, but there was a church ceremony that they went to, and this LGBT, I can't even say that, LGBTQ plus XYZ2, I don't even know, right? But she was like an advocate pastor. I guess I think she's a lesbian herself or something like this, but she, in her ceremony, decided to make it a political quest to give Donald Trump a message. So this is kind of interesting and kind of ties into, I think, some of the healing in which may be necessary for us to bring in also with this gridwork mission that we're doing.
I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in
I think it's running a second time. Is it running a second time? Okay. So yeah, this kind of opens it up to a conversation that I think is going to start being had. Um, it's a difficult situation, because over the last 4 years with the Biden administration, I think that regime, so to speak, was more about equity and equality within this population within the US. Like it was more kind of promoting this and it was more about, that. So we do have like a huge group of people that may be feeling like the walls are closing in on them. I think, especially with Trump coming into power now, like he very clearly stated, like there are only two genders, men and women. Like he made that very clear in his inauguration. And so it's just like, yeah, I mean, if I was somebody who just, had some sort of surgery and was going through the process of shifting my sexual identity, I'd probably be looking at this like, wow, geez, like this is gonna create some backlash probably in my community, and people might be more outwardly hateful towards me. And did I make the wrong choice or the wrong decision or, so there's a lot of hurt feelings right now. Let's just say that there's a lot of probably uncertainty and questioning of truth, of choices, of decisions, this, and that. But I think it breaks down to the sciences on some level that has to do with the rainbow, which is interesting. Um, I actually did a video on this. I left it down in the description if anyone wants to check it out, but it's called 51%, the tipping point, and we talk about the rainbow technologies. So what I think is kind of occurring is people who would be transgender or homosexual, that they're actually carrying an inverted chakra system in their body because of the double rainbow technology. So when you're looking at because the rainbow represents the chakra system. So the first rainbow appears at a 42-degree angle. It's actually reflecting the inverted pattern. Um, so it's the representation of light before it corrects itself in the brain. Now, the second rainbow emerges at the 51-degree angle, and that restores the balance and aligns the colors from red to violet and perfectly matches our chakra system. So what I think is happening is that these kids aren't able to really develop their indigo soul types, probably because they're incarnated into a very vicious hybridization trauma, into a very profound reptilian body, and then they're born into reptilian communities that are just inverted in themselves. Of course, corruption happens, and there's, a predatorial nature in which they're feeding upon these children. But that they're kind of getting blocked and they're getting stuck within that first ray of that chakra system. And you can and it's kind of very obvious because you see how it's an inversion of natural energy and it is symbolized by that pride flag. The pride flag is essentially an upside down, an inverted chakra system. So I think we should be looking at these creation sciences, at least in terms of trying to help these people correct their energy systems back into a natural flow, and that might be the root on some level, with helping heal whatever has been damaged from corruption within this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're onto something there. It's it goes pretty deep. It's hard for everybody to really get into that space. But I think the more that we, open up that consciousness and plant those seeds so people can start to, process that because wow. I mean, we know what's going on a physical level. Those of us that are awake, we see, we can feel. And the interesting part is for me at least, you know, I appreciate Trump saying there were only two gender. I appreciated what he said, and I felt like it needed to be said. I really think from my space, and I love everybody, equally and fairly. There's no hate or shade. But I think we do have to live in the truth that is, the human experience. And we can have imagination, we can play, we can represent, divine feminine and masculine energy, each of us in the body that we were given. And so I just think that there's some again, this is restoring that, all life is sacred and this love for self, because that's how we've gotten so far away from that, organic way of being. And to the point that people literally want to physically change, and do things to their body because they weren't taught how to love it because they were literally taught the opposite. They were told that they were not beautiful or they're not loved and they're not special. And all of these things. This is an equation, right? God's love does equal our self-love in a lot of ways. And so that disconnect there is, I think, the root of correcting all of it, is really bringing that back forward. So that's really what part of the mission is. And it's no, I feel for those people, but I really feel like they've been a little bit spoiled children where they've just been getting away with all this nonsense and too much, on that side of things. And then now it's like maybe Trump is a little too much on the other side, right? Maybe he's swinging. It's like we can't just find this nice happy medium. It always has to be this, you know,
Well, I think you're right. And I want to tell you, like, I agree. I agree. That had to be said. That has to be corrected. There has to be a foundation in which stands upon to protect the fundamentalism of creation and life itself, period, point blank. If we don't protect that, you know, keep expecting your population problems to continue to spiral out of control and keep expecting things to keep getting worse and worse and unraveling even more. And I have to say, I've had a lot of clients, a lot of mothers who've actually come to me almost in a state of distress because they don't know what to do because their children, they want to come have the healing sessions with me, the feminine healing sessions where we're working on the sexual energies because they want to know if they work on that within themselves, if this will somehow or how transpire over to their transgender child to help heal and correct them. And um, so I agree with you. I just feel like I had a hard time spitting that out, honestly, because it's almost like I can feel everybody's faces looking at me. And I know that there's a mother or someone sitting there watching this right now that's probably going through that or dealing with that. So it's like my gentleness around it or just like letting people know like I understand that this is difficult. And it is an attack. I mean, this was an attack on the youth. This was something that was perpetrated. This was a deep state or a CIA, something. They targeted the children maliciously
oh
for
yeah.
for 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 money.
Oh, yeah. Because, and they're using all the different avenues, just like the normal playbook. Where can we put this narrative in? How can we push on this agenda in every single different way? That makes it a lot easier to detect, right, where it's coming from and what it is. It really normalizes it much easier that way. And so you see it, right, I mean, people are talking about the food supply with the way different things are affecting the hormone systems. I've talked about it with the needle tech based on what I've learned about the DNA that they're using from aborted fetal cells, and crisscrossing and not having certain ones for certain genders. Okay. So there's a lot. That's just a tiny little sliver of what is actually happening in the attack. So there's a lot physical that a parent is having to deal with. How do I help to adjust and fix this? And also it's such a sensitive, on emotional, spiritual level, like there's just so much there. I can only imagine. I have so much love for those parents. But there are also parents out there that are grooming and creating this. So there's two different dynamics with how this is happening. And the part of the grooming and creating, that's becoming that way because of the pendulum being slid so far that way that it's become cool and hip and all of these things. And it's alarming, even to the fact thinking about like the Medicare and the healthcare system covering these things as, part of insurance. Meanwhile, I can't get what I actually need for my health and wellness. And this is happening with our tax dollars in some ways. So there's so much, and then the education system, that's a whole nother avenue, right? So there's a lot of places that this is coming through. And I have to say also for that video, I did feel a little bit bad for Trump. I'm not a Trumper. I just want to make it pretty clear. I'm not a political, haven't chose any sides for a long time because I've been exposed to that. I used to actually work in helping, like going out canvassing and stuff for somebody that was trying to be a representative here in Georgia, and I learned a lot about politics through my activism, through the things that I did with that. So I've taken a step back and I really just see and kind of feel everything from my own discernment. But I did feel like that was very, I don't know if it was staged, I don't know what that was, but it felt like a piece of media to get people divided and going again. And it felt like that. I felt a little bad for Trump in some ways because it felt like an attack
Hmm.
in which he had no way of, it's not a debate, it's not something where he can even retort or say anything. And it was very out of context, the way that she delivered it to him and what she was saying. Yes, some of it you could find truths in it, but it wasn't the full truth. And so again, it's the same way. It's the divisive, I believe, media and whatever they're doing there. If they're all in cahoots and just trying to get people going, I have no idea. Sometimes I'm just like think I'm watching the dang circus over here.
The clown
So
world, clown world.
yeah, yeah. So not to say I feel for, immigrants and things like that, but guess what? We've had a process here for how long that people have had to follow the rules and the laws to get in here, and they've done it properly, probably paid a lot of money to do that, or went through the proper channels and had to be patient if they were, refugees and things like that. So I just, again, some of these things where we can have love, we can have compassion, but there still is some sort of system and rules and things to take place in this 3D world for things to work properly the way that
Yeah,
it's set up now, unless we completely just destroy the system and start fresh.
yeah.
It's so unfair to me that illegal people, can just come over, be over here and then committing crimes and all the things that are happening. And he's going to get, yelled at by what is she, a pastor, a priest? I don't
Yeah, yeah.
just
I guess
weird.
I guess a pastor. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It was some sort of like humiliation attempt for sure. They were definitely trying to humiliate him and kind of throw him under the bus. And, you know, was she speaking from a place in which holds any truth? I mean, probably on some level, though. Do I think these people are probably scared? But, it's kind of like we said before, Trump is holding like the emperor card, right? And it's like the dad's coming home. The dad's coming to kind of like, you know, give them maybe a little spanking, a little bit like, wake up. There are only two sexes, there are only two genders. And I think you said it so eloquently and so well, where you said, we can play, we can live in our imagination. I'm a trans angel. And we know this. I mean, you see me. I ran around with my wings in Rome and DC and all of that, like I turn into an angel sometimes and you turn into a fairy sometimes and we become what we like to play in and become and but it doesn't mean that that's grounded in reality and that's what's going to sustain natural law like integrally in the 3D earth. Not really. I can't be an angel all day long. There's other things that have to be tended to. So
Yeah,
the
and you
same
can't
the same goes for I think the gender identity thing
I mean,
going
you
on.
can't claim that. That's the thing. Like, you can't claim that on your license and then get special accordances based off of, right? It's like it goes even further because it's like literally trying to
Yes.
just recreate, science and what we know as truth. And again, yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
fun to play. We've been mermaids back in your pool, and I'll
Hmm.
do it again happily. But I will not be trying to make people call me, a mermaid or that's don't call me
Yeah.
things. This is my pronoun. Like
I
all of
think
that
I think the
is
pronouns thing is ridiculous as well.
too much. It's
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah.
They're doing this on purpose. It's all part of the plan. And I really do think the reason why those people are scared right now, they should be blaming their own leadership and the people that have programmed them and made them to be scared. Because to me, I don't see when Trump says something like that about the two genders, he's not saying that with no compassion. He's not saying it like, those people aren't loved or we hate them or anything like that. And so I think that it's just, yeah, I think she was fishing.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of want to bring it back though, just for a moment, like to look at this double rainbow just for a second though, because I mean, there is kind of a science to this, and I really do feel like this is at the root core of this problem. Like if we could somehow bring this spiritual science to the mothers and the fathers and the children that are dealing with the transgender confusion and help them to understand their spiritual essence and how their energy mechanics actually function, because this is a real spiritual technology. The chakra system is reflective of your own consciousness and the quality of that health. And so if somebody is dealing with a gender crisis, it means their chakra system is essentially inverted. Okay, because you notice that pride flag, what it's doing is basically putting the root chakra at the crown. So everything with, yeah, your sexual identity, everything with the core essence of your ego consciousness, um, the focus of sexuality at the crown versus spiritual enlightenment at the crown. And you notice that's all that these people think about or talk about or be about. I mean, it's a 24/7 lifestyle. This is all it is. Their life is transgenderism. Their life is confusion of their sexual identity. It's constantly expressed. It's constantly paraded around, and so that's a distortion. The regular person who's in alignment with their true essence and their spirituality isn't talking about their sexuality 24/7. It's something that's sacred, and it's held within a specific place within the body, and it's utilized through a sacred essence when divine timing and divine alignment and those things actually happen in a harmonious and natural divine way. This is distorted. It's held at the crown chakra. They're always thinking about it. They're always focusing on it. They're always projecting it because it's in the mind. It's at the crown, and that's an inversion. So I think we need to somehow get this information to these people that what they're dealing with is they're dealing with that 42-degree angle of light, an inverted pattern. And there's actually people who've studied this. So if anyone's interested, there's a philosopher, his name is Descartes, and also Alexander of Aphrodisias. They studied the rainbows and they've uncovered it with mathematical properties, and they actually coined a term. It's called the Alexander Band, and it's basically this. Do you see this dark area that's between the two rainbows? That dark area is it's well, they say it's the void of light. So what's happening in the void of light is it's a scattering of all colors and a balance of how black encompasses all of the hues. Okay, so what I think's happening is they're getting caught in that 42-degree angle, which is the first reflect of the first rainbow. So they're not even in the light, like they're held in the shadow, and then they're existing through this void, and they can't really get to the true essence or the expression, of the second rainbow, which is representing the correction, the clarity, and the spiritual alignment in which would match and mirror a healthy chakra system. So yeah, it's the dark area is it basically what it's doing, it's reflecting discord back into the being. It's reflecting incoherence out of vibrational alignment. Um, and so they have to recognize that this is about harmonic resonance within the body. And this is about imbalance, and this is about disconnection from natural order. And so they're going to have to learn how to move out of that discord into our harmonious space so that way they can heal that in between space. And this might be a good focus for the gridwork mission that we do is going in to heal the in between space and that chaotic middle ground where these people are struggling to align with their higher frequencies. For those that may want to help, transition this issue we have in the planet, so to speak. And that kind of brings us into like, well, where is it stuck within the planet? Because if this is happening at such a collective level with so many people being caught in this void of chaotic, this chaotic band of void and darkness and shadow, where is this essentially getting hung up within creation, within the seeds of life, within the race morphogenetic field, within the Akashic records of humankind? So that's kind of how I'm seeing that is like, how can we, and I think we have to get spiritual healing to the children that have been caught up in this mess. They have to learn self-awareness. We have to start teaching self-awareness to these children. We have to start teaching them how to attune their chakras. We have to start teaching them how to um, set boundaries. We have to start teaching them about the predatorial nature of those that want to prey upon them. And we have to start teaching about the corruption within medical tyranny. We have to teach them how to listen to their bodies. These are people that are way out of order. I mean, we can't understand them because we're not this messed up, technically. I mean, these are people's whose bodies, they don't know how to pay attention to physical signals. They don't know how to pay attention or understand their emotional signals. They don't understand they're blocked in their feedback systems. Okay, so they can't even get to balance. So I think as spiritual healers, right, really realizing like how I guess out of regulation these people actually truly are. The depth of their spiritual healing may need to be much, much more focused, much more getting to the root of where their incoherences are, which how do we really heal and correct an inverted chakra system? How do we really do that? I think it's yeah, understanding truly what they're dealing with in the first place will help us to maybe help these people understand and see on a bigger level what they're dealing with. That's kind of my piece on it.
Wow. When you just said, how do we do that? How do we heal that? The first thing I thought about and that came to me was, you remember when I think it was your last grid worker course, I want to say. Did we work on Hawaii on the last grid worker mission, the group in grid 2 at the end? I feel like we did.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think we were going to do some sort of a chakra something, alignment ceremony, something on the islands there. And I don't know that we ever did. And that was the first thing that I thought about. So maybe we add that into the mission um, next week.
I think that's on the money. I think we have to
Okay.
start with the islands itself because I almost think the islands may be the first rainbow. And because you think about how the chains are their own chakra system, right? And then we have this bigger chakra system on the planet that goes to all of the other locations. So would the chains be the first rainbow, and then the second rainbow is the emanation to the larger planetary chakra system? So clearing everything between, etherically, astrally, aurically, energetically, spiritually within the void of creation from the islands out to the chakra system
Mhm.
through the waters.
Mhm. Yeah.
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 And that will work well because in the mission, I think we'll at some point at least we'll have groups where people will be stationed in different locations, on those ships. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, guys, and we would love it if you joined us. Let me get you guys some information
Yeah.
here. So yeah, you can sign up at IndigoAngel222.com. You can go to my services tab. We did put it up there. It's a one-time drop-in. Um, links are down in the description of this video. You can also go to my Patreon, patreon.com/IndigoAngel, and you can sign up for the mission there as well. It is going to be January 28th at 1 p.m. CST. And yeah, Noko's going to be leading it. She's going to be guiding this one. I'm going to actually be assisting her, which is going to be fun. I look forward to it. I think she takes us on some amazing journeys and healing. The ceremony that we had in Kauai, Hawaii, in the Garden of Eden, that was profound and just amazing and activating. And I love the pieces that you bring in with the instruments. Like if people could only know, I mean, everyone knows that who came on the missions and who have done missions with us, they know how much we pour into it. Um, but I just feel like every time you just get better at bringing in the journey with the musical instruments itself and how we connect with them and how we attune through the sound healing. And this really is the key to 12 dimensional inner earth healing work, is to have the sound, light and sound. That is the
Mhm.
essence of the Lemurian soul body, the 12D uh, human blueprint and incarnate. So
Mhm.
we're mastering this together, we're learning this together, and we're doing it through exploration of our creativity.
Yeah, I love that you brought in the sound because it is related. You know, the sounds do correlate. The frequencies, it's all, waves. It's all it's all the same. So it really is connected in so many ways, and we can utilize sound, in the healing process, with this aspect of connecting it to the chakras and even, potentially on the mission, right? Running it through depending on what I'm guided to bring in, we could certainly have some sound healing coming through on that mission. Um, but yeah, I love where we are. I love doing the work, and boots on the ground is amazing. Remote is amazing. They both bring different, pieces to the puzzle, and I think they're both important. So yeah, I'm excited. And actually, I saw a comment earlier. I wanted to bring through because it touched on some of what we were talking about that came through divinely last night. It was from Raishin. Let me see. He wrote, I agree. I think we need to turn away from AI and technology and get right spiritually before any of that because we are spiritually well yet as a whole. And I,
Mm.
I, I mean, I think that's pretty wise information if you think about it, because it's almost like, if we are not healed in those ways, are we ready, right, to even use technology properly and wisely? Right. So, and we didn't even think AI, like when I did the mission, I didn't even have any of that come through. But when we had a call last night, we ended up having, you mentioned it when we started, we had a really interesting conversation and brought us to this AI place. And, how does that intertwine in even in what we were just talking about with, the inversions and the transgenderism and the transhuman, right? Because it's almost like a stepping stone. If you think about it, if people are willing to change their bodies, change who they are, their identity, and all of these things, how willing, is that a normalization and an ability to get people to step into this, oh
Yes.
wow, I could actually be half robot and I could like run faster and, be stronger and, my brain can, wow, write 5 novels in one day. And, it's just there's some interesting things for us to think about. And I don't know that anybody's doing much of that uh, before they're diving into, what's being given to us. And right, we're way far down that path already. But I think it's a worthy thing for those of us that are awakened to ponder and to, lead with integrity and talk about too, so.
Yeah. It's definitely a conversation that I think needs to be had, and I think we opened the can of worms last night to get the conversation started a little bit. You know, well, we started with kind of I think I was I'm like, oh, how do I even talk about this? Because it's like, how do we make sense of it all? I feel like we're going into, like we're generationally timeline jumping a lot faster than before. and that it's a parting of old world systems that we also have to release or let go of. We talked about like how sad we were on some level with having to say goodbye to like cursive writing being done with in school and education, and we're like, oh my gosh, the kids aren't going to know how to write in cursive. Like, how do we even move forward? But it's they're bringing in new technology. They're getting these children to be faster on the computers and to adapt the programs of AI to do their work versus, yeah, using their own thought processes, right? It's kind of like with the calculator. Like when you're in school and you're having to do math, um, of course, the teacher wants you to be able to do these long drawn out equations without the calculator, but then, you're like, why? This isn't, I want to have a calculator. I could do this so much faster. It's the same with the AI programs that we're using in the editing softwares, right? Um, so yeah. I think, well, for one, I have to say, I think if there's some sort of regulation around AI that promotes safety within it, so that way we're not doing and utilizing it in a way that it's harmful. But I mean, I personally have found how helpful that certain AI programs have been with my work and with my business and with putting things together and being able to. And I was telling you last night how I feel like I'm also learning from AI as well. Like I was explaining how even with my writing, I didn't make it to a level of education in college where I was able to write at a level of like a PhD or something where I can put these amazing, things together where so AI has helped me in that sense in terms of my writing and my ability. And then I find when I'm putting my writing and how I'm learning from AI, it's like teaching me how to structure my words or structure my paragraphs or organize things in ways I never thought of before. So it's just strange. It's strange how we are merging it with it in some ways, but also having to keep in mind that we don't want to lose our abilities to do certain things, right? When thinking for ourselves, we can't let AI take over the ability to think for ourselves. And like you had expressed the other day, like you feel like it's already doing that with your GPS. Like you can't, I mean, I've already surrendered. Like I can't figure out how to get certain places. My mom asked me the other day, do you even know how to get to my house without the GPS? And I'm like, actually, I don't think I can. I mean, she lives kind of far away, and we've moved far away from where we used to live. So just, keep that in mind that like I'm still like learning where I'm living, because I haven't lived here that long. But it's the fact that yeah, we've let go of some of our natural things I think our brain would be doing because we're allowing AI to step in and be kind of like our processor of our mind. And that's kind of the issue with it right there. Is this something we can continue to rely on? Is this always going to be here? And what if it's not? What happens? What do we do? We've completely forgot how to think for ourselves in certain ways.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. That's that's well, and I kept saying in the conversation, like, call me old fashioned. I just feel so old fashioned, and I've said this about other things in life too. Maybe I am not supposed to be in this time. In this time, I was supposed to be born before or something. But it's like, no, actually, the more that I pondered on that and what I was meaning by old fashioned, it was like old fashioned equals humanness. Old fashioned equals creation, like sacred human experience. So I started to I almost felt like I was programmed to feel like, no, I'm just old fashioned, and the future generation should be Jetsons and eating in a pill and like all these things. And I'm like, wait a minute, what if I am just programmed to think that's what it's supposed to be and it's an improvement, but really we're moving further and further away from what I already know we're too far away from, which is organic, nature, which is creation, which is, the divine human experience. So it's interesting. And, I'm here for the free will aspect. And, I know a lot of people are all into that type of thing. So maybe there can be a good
Well,
balance, I hope.
I think you made a good point last night when we were talking. You said that now, in terms of these business classes and things you're taking, that everybody is training people with AI systems, that this is like the standard now. So everybody who's getting trained in tech, in the 3D world, all across the board when it comes to business, that it's about using AI programs. So it's like if you don't jump on board, like, are you going to get left behind in the dust? Can you keep up with the AI technological revolution if we're not incorporating using AI programs? This is the issue.
Right. Like, are we on different platforms then, right? Because if this group of people, they're all for it and they're utilizing it and they're just zooming ahead with their efficiency and their ability to, market and all these things, they don't need to hire a bunch of people because they got robots working for them. And then meanwhile, here's me over here wanting to hire a human, wanting to have the human touch, wanting to have my, human code and frequency and vibration in my messages and everything that I'm doing and like maybe not utilizing as many of those tools, maybe not being able to market as much, maybe not having as much detail and excitement in my writing or, these things that it's just an interesting concept because, yeah, it really does change the playing field, so to speak, right?
Yeah, it really does. I feel like there's gotta be a way to have a balance and have both though at the same time. There's gotta be it just got to be. There's got to
Yeah.
be. There's
I
gotta
think
be.
so too. I think it's more about using it with integrity. I think it's about the healing and the purification. And, I think the part that is probably unnerving for me is that the majority of people that are utilizing it, I don't think are at that point, right? Kind of like what who was it? Raishan said there. I think that there's a lot more healing and a lot more work to be done for people in their ego space and in their integrity space before they're even ready for those kind of tools. And we can't make those decisions like you got to have a license to be able to use that AI, sir. But it is an interesting place. And I think the hope is just that the more work that we do, with the healing of
Yeah.
the grids, that it continues to also, and I think we're going to put that intention into the mission,
Uphold and
right?
support. And I
Yeah.
almost feel like the AI too, it's almost like an intellectual technology that's ethereal.
Mm,
So it just feels like the mental plane or the consciousness plane has shifted up maybe from the ground levels of the Earth's grids, and it's more in the higher ethereal planes, but in
mm,
terms of processing. Right?
mhm,
Because the processes are just faster. When I think of AI programs or I think of AI technology, I'm almost seeing it through like the prisms of the organic crystal technology. So, like when you brought this rainbow healing to me, I seen that, yeah, we need to bridge that rainbow energy from the seeds of creation, the organic seeds of creation, bridge them through all the earth layers, but into the ethereal realms, connect and sustain that organic consciousness to preserve organic human,
mhm,
and give them like a backbone or something to stand upon when it comes to working with the AI ethereal realms. Because it doesn't feel like a separation, but it does feel like a merging. In terms of maybe pairing or working with a more holistic positive AI, because there does seem to be a positive AI and then a negative AI. There does seem to be like the duality is existing within that. And I feel like the negative AI pertains more to uh like actual robots, like more like the Terminator type of like mentality. Um where it's like we're painting this doom ending where we're going to be eventually like literally fighting AI, that super sentient or godlike AI will eventually turn against us and annihilate humans off of the earth because we no longer even matter, type of thing. We're just getting in their way of their AI's
mhm,
evolution. I think we do have to keep it out of the hands of the villainous types that want to essentially upload human consciousness entirely to the cloud. And I guess sustain life in a sense of eternity. But then again, who knows what the future would look like with that playing out, where we will be as a collective consciousness, if and when we ever even get to that point, if we're
mhm,
going to be truly faced with that.
mhm.
Um, I think it's when they start weaponizing the AI against us in terms of like punishment, like the whole drone thing. prison system AI smart city thing where they're like imprisoning us and according to the needlecraft and implants that are in the body and things like this. Now that's when it's weaponized. That's when we have to start. So I'm kind of pro AI programs in terms of helping us become more efficient human beings,
Mhm.
but I'm anti-weaponization of AI. I'm figuring this all right now as I'm saying it. I'm figuring out where I even stand with it. I'm like trying to vocalize and verbalize it, but that is kind of I guess how it is for me is I don't want to see this technological takeover in a way that, there's going to be some sort of extermination of human beings. I think that would be catastrophic and that I feel like we would ultimately be protected from in terms of guardian consciousness on the planet, that stringing those creation elements of our true existence through to sustain that consciousness will keep that all connected in a way in which the planetary protectors of the planet can essentially assist us in all dimensions, even those AI ethereal realms, right? That we do have um, the consciousness as a whole is understanding the means of AI beyond our understanding and can ultimately serve to protect us where the dangers exist that we can't see.
Mm. Well, and I like what Arizona Raven brought in about that as far as the calculator, like you brought up the calculator and how, it was more required where we needed to learn, how to do the things that the calculator does in order to use the calculator later in life, right? That's why they didn't let us use it for the tests and in school and whatnot, because we still needed to be able to work that problem out, show how we did it and understand it to truly respect and utilize it properly. And then that way also, if the calculator breaks, we can still do our job. Whereas if people are literally just coming out of, being taught this in school, if this is the new education, if this is the way, is just these to cut corners this way and not actually learn the comprehension, the customer service, the writing skills, the communication skills. I think that's what I'm really here to preserve. And, even just thinking about being in DC, and kind of like missing that human touch, missing, you know, see even some of these, like I'm seeing some of these, I forget if it's China or Japan, one of the Asian countries where it's like you go to a restaurant, it's like the robot is like the waitress, it delivers your food and it's just, I would miss that human interaction. Like I literally go to the checkout and wait longer in line to have a human check my food out. Not because I'm lazy. I could easily go through the
Mhm.
self-checkout because I like the human interaction, because I support that, because I connect with that. And we plant seeds with each other and we interact and connect, in our fields in that space. So it's just, there's something, the human contact and the community and all of these things. I think it's really important that we treat AI with respect and use it as a tool and not skip any of the steps right along the way.
It's definitely something that we're decoding more and more, I feel like.
Mhm.
We're decoding this. Like how do we function within it in an integral way and how do we because it's here whether we like it or not.
Yep.
That's the reality of it.
Mhm.
We wouldn't be able to even have this conversation right now.
Yep.
Internet itself is the backbone of AI. I mean, is the internet AI itself. I mean, so we all have these devices in our hands at the end of the day. So yeah, how do we go about using it all in an integral way
Mm.
and in a way that protects humanity? So I think it's a deeper discussion that we'll have to get into. I think we should pull a roundtable on this, um,
Yeah.
and bring it in and call it in because it's definitely, how do I think it's important that people are able to identify the differences and the levels and layers and where the corruption's occurring within all of it, right? Like, yeah.
Mm.
And know who are the globalists that are behind it that, you know, are supporting the negative AI because th those are the people we have to really look out for and we have to watch out for.
Mm.
Is that Elon Musk at the end of the day? I mean, he has created his Tesla robots. I think they said Kim Kardashian just purchased one.
It's funny that you said that. Literally right before you said that, Dino dropped in the comments, SpaceX is the AI backbone.
Okay.
And literally the timing on that couldn't have been a better,
Yep.
confirmation.
Yep, that's true. And, Trump and Elon, and that's what we've kind of put into the power seat. So is that people saying that that's what they want,
Hmm.
you know?
Well, how many options they had? Two options. So guess what?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad people, in my opinion, chose, the better option for, even just hearing him speak. I've said that before. I just, at least to have a leader that can communicate and, um, I think that's important on a respect level when dealing with other countries and doing business in that way. You got to be able to actually do the job physically, right? That's rule number one. So,
So, yeah, and maybe we could tie in too, because I mean, I think we'll probably pull in some of these elements from this gridwork mission that we're doing into the New Earth Prophecy course as well. So that's something that I'm going to be teaching on February 22nd, 2025. Now is the time to sign up and register for that course as we're getting much closer to the date. And I think I put a link down in the description. It's at learn.indigoangel222.com. Everything that we do now, it always serves, as we're working up to the course time, it's always serving as an element or a component that will actually also tie into the teachings and even the gridwork remote mission that we do in the gridwork course as well, because that will be the gridwork mission that we do for February. So, um, this current one that we're doing with the Lemurian Rainbow Crystal Technologies for January, and then we'll also have one in February through the remote gridwork course mission that we do as well. And everything kind of ties into each other. So yeah, getting on board with this gridwork mission, getting on board with the course, and then that. We're going to be taking those codes from that work we do and we'll be applying it to the boots on the ground missions that we're preparing for in April and May. And we have surprises for you guys. I mean, we are gearing up to announce the first gridwork mission that we're going to be doing. Me and Noko and our divine team, we've been working off YouTube. Um, and doing all kinds of preparing, doing all kinds of planning, doing all just figuring out, getting all of our ducks in a row. We are going to have a pretty powerful boots on the ground gridwork mission for you guys coming in April. So we're going to announce that really soon. I think we're going to try to announce it this weekend. Yes, yes,
yes, we are very
yes.
close.
Yes. Very close. But
Can't
there's
wait.
so much that goes into it, right? So much planning, so much just making sure we have everything set up in terms of, where everything's going to happen and we're going to be uh, having food, having sacred ceremony, having all kinds of different healing sessions, sound healing. And I think it's going to be really important for what's recently occurred in terms of the recent disasters, weather disasters, the hurricane disasters, the fire disasters. So everything's going to really be in alignment with what's needed in terms of collective healing. So I can't wait. I can't wait to announce this. It's going to be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I can feel it. When you're working through some of the logistics and the planning, it really starts to the vibe and the energy really starts to come through, and it does. It feels like an immensely healing opportunity. But also, I like it because, and you're great at this with the events that we do physically. It's always like this beautiful match of healing along with the grid work with actually, doing the mission, which can sometimes maybe be a little bit more taxing, right, on the body. And so being able to really have both sides of the coin. And yeah, I think a lot of clearing, a lot of healing is going to be done in in these. So I'm excited to be a part of them as usual. We just keep getting better and better. So
We do keep getting better and better. If you've ever attended one of our Gridwork missions, just know we improve every time. So, but I would say the last couple have been pretty spectacular. Yeah, so we just
absolutely.
we keep blowing our own minds every time. And
Yeah, and we'd love some testimony too. So if y'all have been on one and you want to email us in, send in video testimony, any comments you might have about, what your experience was like, because it helps us to, share with others for the next mission and for people to relate to, what they might experience. Everybody's different, everybody's unique, and sometimes it takes someone else's, voice and experience to really help others to realize, wow, okay, that sounds like that's for me. Uh, so.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any last messages for everyone watching today, Noko? Anything else you'd like to bring in about this Gridwork mission we'll be doing next week?
Yeah, well, I mean, you had brought the connection back to me with how often I'm seeing the little rainbows in the sky. I know people talk about it a
Oh yeah.
lot. Yeah, and Kingston actually, this is a big thing that Kingston and I work on a lot. And like we'll go out on a walk, and it's interesting because I can literally feel. Some people call it sun halos. We actually saw one when we first met the first time we were together down in Pensacola on the beach. We had this moment with a sun halo. And ever since around that time back then, a few years ago, it's just been so often that we're seeing these little, points. I'm calling them kind of compass points, sun dogs, Kingston calls them. And just recently, the last one that we experienced here had like a upside down. It had a double rainbow, like one was going this way and one was upside down. It was so interesting. And I have the video if you want me to share it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Bring
let
it
me
on in,
see.
because that was, well, and I think this is this the one with the three suns?
It might be. I
Okay,
can't
because I had
remember.
talked about this in my New Earth update where I was talking about this being six dimensional.
Okay.
This is a 60 Earth sun where you can see three suns.
Okay, so this is it. I think I can hit play. Let's see. Is it playing? Hmm, it's not playing. I'm not sure. Here, let me try again. Oh, the play button was being covered by the little share thing. Hold on one second. I'm gonna try a different way.
Oh, it's so funny. Shannon says, "Are you coming to California?" Hmm.
Oh.
Maybe, maybe.
Hmm. Does she know something we don't? Let's see. Where is this little guy? Now I can't even find it. Well, he does not want to be, it's like it does not want to be played or something.
Brooke says, "I couldn't hang with y'all in Arkansas. You're definitely warriors."
Mm.
That was a pretty crazy mission, wasn't it? It was a long one. We had a lot of days.
Here we go. I'm gonna try this. No, it's not letting me play it. Yeah, that was, I mean, but you know what? The thing is, everybody is different with, grid work missions, and you really do have to honor your own body and your own situation. And, um, some people actually are connecting in multidimensionally if they're not there physically and they know that they're still part of the mission. Like you probably were doing work in your own way, in my belief system. And so I honor that and whatever you needed to do and whatever healing you received from that, it's really, it's not about going out and doing every single thing and being, hardcore warrior. It is really about doing your part and honoring your body and your situation and your mission, because everybody brings different things. Even when we work remotely, we've noticed that, some people are
Yeah.
just there to pray. Some people are just there to be in the background, anchor down the light. And that is so important. And we
Yep.
forget sometimes, like, oh, you think you just have to do this, the actual, sound healing or, be the person leading it or no, no, no. Like all parts matter, So thank you, Brooke, for the part that you played there. And I really do appreciate you being a part of it, even though we didn't get a chance to meet. I have a feeling we will in the future. Um, Okay, so I'm going to try one more
Well,
time.
and that's the thing. We give an itinerary, and yeah, you don't have to come to everything if it feels a little overwhelming. I couldn't even make it to the one day. I think in
Mhm.
Arkansas, by the fourth day, my system kind of crashed, and I had to pull away and rest that day. So
Right.
yeah, sometimes I even overdo it, and I got to kind of, step into that space where I say, okay, I have to take some little rest time. I have to take some me time. I have to rejuvenate. I have to repair. Um, but then we learn from those experiences. Well, what are my capacities? What am I capable of? Am I pushing myself too hard? On the next mission, we might do something a little bit different, tweak things, make sure we're accommodating and looking at everything in terms of the collective energy and what we truly, honestly think everybody can do in a group dynamic.
Can you, oh, I think I can make it bigger. Oh, nice. Here we go. Okay, so thank you for your patience with that one. Okay, so you can see the little sundog point on the right. I'm panning over to the left. You can see it. There's one on each side. And there was one above making that halo. And then this is the upside down one. We had never seen this phenomenon before. Um, so Kingston and I were like literally going crazy this day. Like I ran in to get my phone. And Kingston has explained to me when we see these points,
I can
uh,
only see the point of the upside down rainbow at the top.
oh, can you? Maybe it's the screen's not showing the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going as far over to the right because am I supposed to be seeing a rainbow on the right or the left side?
No, just a point rainbow. So could you see why is that coming up? That's so funny. Could you see the little let me see if I can get a picture. I think I took another one too. Here we go.
I think the picture you had was really good that day you showed me.
Yeah, I don't know which one that was. No, I can't exit out of here. Let me open up. I think I did a couple of them here. This one here. Okay, also noticing this line here. I don't know if this was created by a plane. I'm not sure. Okay, so but it is going there on the left. Can you see the sun? And to the left, the little rainbow that's on the left? If you look, the other, what Kingston's
Yes.
calling there's one
Okay.
here on the right
The
where my
other little
finger's
rainbow
pointing
prism
out.
has a line also. Look at it. Coming up and down.
So
Looks
this
like
is
maybe they were
English.
chemtrailing through that.
I see a
Seems
lot, and
significant.
you can see the
And then
sun
here's this
halo
other
kind
little
of going
rainbow
around
prism.
it.
Okay,
And then we
yep,
still
can see
have,
that.
And
Kingston, what are you calling this?
here's the,
Sundog smile.
there is a
A
name for
sundog smiley
this
face.
phenomenon.
So we're really enjoying today. I hope you are too.
But I will say, from what I've been able to research, indigenous tribes talked about sundogs. This is not something that is new or, because I do see the chemtrail thing a lot on those days. And at first I thought, and I've heard people say this, oh, it's the chemtrails creating it, right? And it's the reflection off the aluminum or the metal or whatever they're spraying. But, and I hear those people, and I know that makes sense. But if this was really happening back in the day, and maybe more rarely, is there something changing in our skies? Is there something going on with our sun and with our, atmosphere or things up here that's part of why they're spraying on those days, that it's actually coming out on those days and that they are spraying more heavily on those days for a reason? I really question this because, Kingston and I have tuned into when we see these and we're getting guided to do work on stargates when these appear, these little, I call them compass points, but they're called sundogs. And we always do work on different stargates when we see this. And so I really think there's a further correlation. Um, Still decoding the upside down rainbow situation. That was a really cool experience. And I think I see a lot of people talking about this. I see a lot of people seeing this.
Okay, I have a picture actually. Maybe this can help us decode upside down rainbow or get some insight into it. So a rainbow takes the shape of its glass prism.
Hmm.
I mean, I caught this last night when I was looking for rainbow stuff.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking, like, how does that apply with maybe the upside down? Is the prism itself shifting or is the firmament shifting? Because the
Mm.
rainbow They are, that's why they call with Uluru, they call the rainbow the serpent, because the rainbow, we think it just stops like an arc, but it actually goes all the way through the grid.
Hmm.
It's actually it's what builds the actual crystalline grid. So the rainbows echo the crystalline grid structure of the Earth, and this came through the Andromedans and the Pleiadians as well because they
Mm.
contributed to the grids. They embedded the crystal templates into the poles, into the central and pillar of light within the planet and the magnetic poles. And so this has something to do with the development of DNA and then the 24 strand chromosomes, and then it solidified the crystalline foundation. The rainbow light, I think, built the crystalline grid, which is interesting.
Mm.
But yeah, I think this comes full circle. It's
Hmm.
not just the arc. But so if it's upside down, what does that mean? Are we having some sort of dimensional prism shift, or there's some sort of I don't know.
Well, why would it be reflecting? Is it a reflection of a reflection? Like, why would it be, you
Right. And
know?
are you catching the first or the second rainbow?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting energies. And I will say the other thing I wanted to bring through for people that are sky watchers like us, I've noticed that I know when that's going to be in the sky. Like it's not even that I don't see it. I will feel it. There's something different with vibrationally, frequency wise, that Kingston and I both will detect it. And now I've even noticed my husband is detecting it. And so this is how we end up always noticing it because yeah, we look in the skies, but like literally we'll be out and Kingston will be like, oh, it feels like there's a, sun halo or it feels like there's a sundog today. And I'll look up and yeah, sure enough, there's this freaking sundog. And it blows my mind. And same thing happens to me. I keep being drawn to look at the sun and like I'm being told like, okay, I gotta keep an eye here. And then sure enough, as I'm doing that, it's one of those days. So it's very interesting. I'd love to hear more people's comments and experiences with it. I think there's a lot to, really learn and some wisdom here that can come through. But I think it's important that we watch the skies. I think this is something that, the indigenous did. This was a tool, right? Oh my goddess, look at your backyard.
That was my backyard last night.
Did
That's
you
how
go
much
for a
snow we
polar
got.
plunge?
I did not go for a polar plunge, but that's how much snow we got down here in Pensacola, Florida. Isn't that insane?
Wow, that is
I
crazy.
know. And yeah, I've never gotten snow since being here. I mean, I'll be coming up on 2 years in April, but still, I mean, I was like, wow. That is
Mm,
crazy, right? And my dog
mm.
is so funny. I mean, it's the first time he's ever seen snow. And so he just would, do you see all these like little trails and
Uh-huh.
stomping grounds? I mean, he would just plunge in it head first, like as if he was like sniffing or digging for something under it. He wouldn't even come up. He was like a little mole. And he was just in the snow. I mean, it was the cutest, funnest thing ever.
So cute. Oh my. We need some
Yeah.
video. That is, I mean, there and I said he must have been hard to see him because they're your dogs are all white, so they probably just blend right in back there.
Yeah, definitely. It was hilarious. And
Oh.
you could see they're definitely meant to be in the snow naturally. So I feel bad I got them down here in Florida sweating to death all the time. Like I need to move to Alaska.
Mm.
Uh, well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to join us for our remote grid work mission. This is going to be a big one. It's going to be a beautiful one. It's going to be just, I can tell it's just going to be like the best. I'm so excited to see what Noko's got in store for us, the entirety of it all. And so please join us.
Mhm.
Everything is, all the links are down in the description. You can find it, or you can go to IndigoAngel222.com or patreon.com/IndigoAngel. Be sure to subscribe to Noko as well. All of her links are down in the description, her YouTube channel and her Instagram. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And any last words, Noko?
Just, please, if you're feeling called, don't ignore it. Join us. Don't be, if you haven't done it before, don't be afraid. We have such an amazing group. It's such a beautiful group to start doing grid work with and learn with because they're so supportive and you can learn so much and you can literally sit in the background if that's what you feel like you need to do. And then those of you that, feel a calling, maybe you are like, wow. I want to do something, I want to lead something in that, I want to bring something, a prayer to that mission, feel free, drop an email to us through Indies, info@indigoangel222.com, and let us know what your thoughts and how you want to, add your offerings in. And I'll certainly be open to keeping some spots in the itinerary for, those also just on the mission that are there and feeling called divinely in the moment.
Yeah.
You can bring it that way too, but
Yeah.
I'm open to connecting, and I'm excited to see who is our team that shows up. I have a feeling some of our Hawaii peeps are going to be there. We know there's some of our Lemurian peeps, and yeah, this is going to be really fun. And I'm excited about the amount of, divine masculine that we've been seeing enter more into this space and do the grid work with us. And so I'm excited to have that balance because I think for the rainbow, I think that's important too, that, we're showing up in, in those physical ways with the different codes that we carry. So yeah, I can't wait. Only what, a week away, just about. So
1 week away, and we got maybe 5 weeks until the course, New Earth Prophecy course. So yeah, it's
mm,
exciting. And you're right.
mhm,
Yeah, divine masculines have been kind of coming in. We every time we just put the
mhm,
call out,
mhm.
and then we call them in, and it's amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, guys, we love you so much. Have a beautiful everything, and namaste. One love.
One love.
Okay, we're all done. Yay. I said one love. You always say one love. I start